Good morning. Thank you for joining our Small Business Town Hall. The program will begin in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Janie Barrera, President and CEO of Lift Fund. I'm excited that you have joined us today for a very special conversation after a year in which we each, individually and collectively, had to make sense of what was going on in our lives, in our communities, and in our businesses. Just a year ago at Lift Fund, we were planning for a new year, as we always do, thinking about ways to serve our small business clients and continue the mission we launched 26 years ago. Last December seems like a lifetime ago, doesn't it? By February, we were hearing from many of our small business clients that they were on track to match or exceed what they had done in the first quarter of 2019. And then we started hearing about COVID-19. And then everything changed in March. Our lives, our families, and our economy were turned upside down. At Lift Fund, we actually transitioned from being a lending company into being a grant-making company because of all the support and partnerships that we received from municipalities and government entities and other generous supporters. We usually lend in a typical year between $25 and $28 million in 1 year. To date, just this year alone, Lift Fund has deployed more than $43 million in loans and an additional $45 million in grants. I'm so proud of our team because with the same number of people, they are able to not only double but triple the type of work that we've done in our communities over these years. We were able to do so thanks to the many funders and organizations that partner with us. And you saw the PowerPoint that was just playing, all the partners that we have working together to build our economy. In terms of small business owners, no segment of our economy has been more impacted than the 50% of employers who are small businesses than mom and pop businesses across our footprint. Think about that. Half of the US workforce is employed by small businesses. And that is why I'm pleased that we are joined today by three wonderful examples of resiliency, courage, creativity, and drive. We have with us Pilar Gonzalez, who is the founder and owner of Dip It by Pilar, a delicious food valley company located in Mission down in the Rio Grande Valley. We also have with us Shanti Rajaram, who is president and CEO of Amistec Solutions, north of Dallas, and she offers lending edge digital technology solutions to her clients. We also have Reggie Martin, owner of Lamont Kitchen. Along with his wife, Marinda, they create gourmet Southern cuisine and serve it all across Houston. Thank you all for joining us. We envisioned concluding this challenging year with stories of resiliency and inspiration. So welcome to this town hall meeting that couldn't have been possible without the support and generosity of our event supporters. The Connect sponsor and partner, SWBC, our advocate sponsor, Broadway Bank, and our inspiration sponsor, Texas Pecos Bank. We appreciate your support of elevating these voices of our small business owners. So let's hear from our Connect sponsor, the president and CEO of SWBC Life Insurance Company, my friend Joan Cleveland.
Hi, I'm Joan Cleveland, President and CEO of SWBC Life Insurance Company. I want you to know that SWBC is honored to be part of this wonderful event, and we are proud to support our client Lift Fund and in turn all that they do to support diverse small businesses in our community. SWBC co-founders Gary Dudley and Charlie Amato truly understand the impact that small businesses have on our economy. As it has for the past 45 years, SWBC continues to be committed to helping small businesses thrive by offering quality products and services to help protect these businesses and their employees. From life insurance to protect assets to health benefits to protect employees, SWBC is here to see you through.
Thank you, Joan, and the entire SWBC team for your support. Now I'd love to introduce Kerry Clack. He's moderating our conversation today. Kerry is a recognized and thought-provoking writer for the San Antonio Express News. I personally look forward to Sunday and reading what he has to say on Sunday mornings when I read the Express News. I'd like to say that every week when I read his column, I learn something that is new. And that is, I think, a great mark for a great writer. So Kerry, thank you very much for being with us. welcome, and I'll pass it on to you to lead our conversation this morning.
Thank you very much, Janie. You're very generous, and thank you for all that you and Lift Fund has done through the years, and it's an honor to be here with y'all. This time it's going to go fast, so I'll just get started. Pilar, you have on your website the quote, "If you can dream it, you go." For each of y'all, I would like, I'm sure the audience would like to know, where did the dreams of having your own business begin, and how did you make it happen? And Pilar, since it was
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to participate in this amazing platform so we can communicate our stories. Well, let me tell you something that it's unusual, but I never had an aha moment. I did not dream of this. It just happened. I mean, and even if you can always dream it, you can live it. I just was there, like doing force, trying to feed my kids. And suddenly I saw this opportunity coming my way, and I decide to grab the opportunity, and I decide to embrace it, and I decide to walk the walk and join the journey that the life was putting in front of me. And that's how Dip It was born. After that, everything just came my way, and I just started just thinking about how far can I go with this project. And I then that's when I start dreaming about making it bigger than what I can reach. And here we are 4 years later.
How many employees do you have?
Well, actually, we have only 5 employees that are working full time, but we are very effective. I have a very effective team and very great group of people working together with me. And we supply more than 250 HEB plus across the state of Texas, plus about 50 more small gourmet stores.
Okay. And Shanti,
Um,
your
Go ahead, please.
no, your story, your dream. How did you make it happen?
Mm, I started my career in corporate. I'm a technologist, and I was working with them for 3, 4 years before I moved to a startup. And when I was working at startup is when I realized that my heart belongs to small companies. It's a different pace. It's a different. I mean, we drive things at very differently than big companies, and it exposes you to a lot more than just the small thing that you are doing in a corporate world. And when it was time for me to move on, I was like, let me try starting something on my own. And that was 2007. So it's been 13 years organization. And every day it's a new challenge. Every day it's a new learning. And that's what drives me. In terms of how big we are around 140 to 150 engineers working together, and we are spread across Texas and rest of US, and we also have an offshore office out of India, Bangalore.
Thank you. Reggie.
Yes. Same question. Well, I have to be honest. I was born into this. My grandmother and grandfather, Imelda and Clarence Lamont, started Lamont Catering back in 1959. It was a mom and pop operation out of East Houston, near the Ship Channel area, Galena Park. Grew up in the Clinton Park area. And I always wanted to cook. My mom was a cake decorator. My dad did a lot of the cooking in the business from our grandparents, and we did weddings from Houston to Beaumont to Lake Charles. I call that the Creole Trail. My family, the name. My grandparents are originally from Opelousas, Louisiana. So there's not a city you can stop in going to New Orleans that you won't probably find a relative of ours. So I grew up with the love of cooking food. Going to culinary school wasn't a real option for me. I was a first generation college student, and my dad was, you're going to get a 4-year degree. So couldn't major in culinary, so I majored in agriculture at A&M. So that was the closest I could get to food. So I learned how to grow food first, and then after college, I decided to go back to culinary school and relaunch our family business. So about 20 years ago, me and my wife relaunched our business, originally with my parents and my siblings. And now for the last 20 years, my wife and I have managed Lamont Kitchen here in Houston.
My grandmother was from Opelousas, Louisiana. I was going to ask about that when I saw your bread pudding. So, but
right.
I came.
There you go.
I'll start with this question. I'll start with you, Reggie, and work the other way around. At the beginning of a year ago today, looking at going into 2020, what were your goals for your business? And at what point early in 2020 did COVID become a concern?
So 2020 was supposed to be almost a trampoline year for. We were supposed to jump our business. We partnered with a major restaurant firm here, very well known firm, to bid on an airport contract. We were going into we're bidding on a hobby airport contract, and obviously we know what COVID is. So we refinanced, we pulled funds to invest in this project. We gave our presentations to the airport authority, and COVID hit. Not only did that RFP get pulled because of what COVID has done to airports, but 90% of our revenue literally went away overnight because we do lots of catering for universities, the museums, places where, in fact, we had a Midtown operation, which was at a performance art theater where we managed all the food and beverage. That theater complex has closed since March. It hasn't reopened. So we thought going into this year, we were already positioned to pivot and transition and continue to grow our business. And we were growing it in an area that got impacted probably even worse because of what COVID has done to airports and airport operations. And so it was supposed to be a really, really great year for us. It has turned out to recently become a little better for us, but very, very scary in March and April initially. We recognize then, and even more so now, that you truly have to be prepared with multiple potential revenue streams. So not one particular area can devastate your business.
Thank you. Shanti, for you, looking ahead to 2020, at what point did you realize that whatever dreams or goals you had for 2020, what's going to be overtaken by COVID?
Last year around this time, we were working towards growth by acquisition. We have been growing organically for a long time. And we were getting impatient, and we were like, okay, let's grow by acquisition. So we were looking at targets that we could approach, talk to, had contracted a couple of brokers to help us out in the process because we were very new to it. We also had a couple of target companies that we were looking at funding, all of that. We thought we would grow significantly this year. I think 2020 for many businesses was like a milestone year. It was like all of us had some goals. Even personally, I think 2020 was a goal-oriented year for many of us. But then come March, it started showing in February itself, but come March, it all stalled. My business, most of the business comes through my networking and reaching out to people. And by March, most of these networking events, everything had stopped. So it was, I couldn't foresee any new businesses coming in for some more time. We didn't know which direction to take. It was like suddenly you had to pivot or come up with what direction you wanted to go. Companies were not ready to talk because they themselves were not clear what they were going to do. So it was a tough time, but I think things happen for a reason. As far as my company in 2019, I don't know what drove us, but we moved everything to laptop. We didn't have any desktop at all. I still don't understand why we did that, but we did that. And when COVID really hit, it a laptop and went home and we started working. So some things in the hindsight were like, okay, blessing, we did what we did. But then it took at least July of this year for people to start coming back and talking to us. The March to July timeframe, I was just reaching out to most of my clients to see how can I help, what are they going through, more of a personal reach out rather than business, because there were not too many business decisions happening. And yeah, July, August, people have started coming back and they are back to business. I think around August, people figured out that this is not going to go away. So let's get back to as normal as we can. And things started moving for my industry. And we didn't do great in 2020, but I think we have a great pipeline for 2021.
Thank you. Pilar?
Well, for us was like super scary. I jumped into that COVID thing. Everything was coming our way. And I remember calling everybody. I mean, we didn't have the experience. We did not have a plan. We didn't know how to pivot. I mean, it was a learning and challenging time and a process. And what we started doing is like, I call my board of advisor, which is, my bank. I own the money. So they wanted me to pay and they were going to help me make very good decisions. So we start reaching out to the Chamber of Commerce, the SBA. Leaf Fund has an amazing resources that support us all the way in training. So we start doing a research on what was coming our way and what was happening and how can we put our best face to it and resist what was coming our way, reinvent, change. So the first thing that we did was developing a plan, and we were kind of putting together oral debts and trying to pay what we owe and cut as much extra expenses that we have. We tried to reach out new vendors because we were scared that probably they were not able to provide us with the things that we need to keep our production line running, and we were opening new accounts and reinventing ourselves. I mean, it was very challenging. We had a lot of adrenaline. We were very scared, and we were just wondering what can we do different to resist this horrible time that was coming our way. And surprisingly for me, we find so many ways to cut our expenses, and we find a lot of support. Plus, we have all these, helps, all these grants and all this support and all this advice. And then suddenly the internet exploded with webinars, and we were learning as we went by. It's been a great experience. It's been great growth for our company. I was very surprised to see that our sales exploded like in 129%. So what we thought was going to be horrible turned out to be amazing and challenging times. And all of this was uh, mainly because we, I think, reached out to our advisors, to our bankers, to Live Fund, chambers of commerce, and the universities, and we were just looking what other to help them overcome this challenging times. And that's how we survived and reinvented ourselves and created new products that people were looking for in the market. So it's been amazing, but it's been a community effort. It's been thanks to all the advice and support from companies like, that Live Fund, as I mentioned, has a great training classes and free tools, the Chamber of Commerce, the universities. I mean, it's been a lot of resources out there for small businesses like ours that had not experience on what was coming our way. So it's been challenging, it's been in sweeter, but we have survived so far. And so we have great plans of expansion for next year.
I think all of you received PPP, payment protection funds, and although your experiences may have been different, but I'd like for each one of you to talk about what the PPP did for you, or maybe in some cases didn't do for you. Starting with Shanti.
Yes, I have a great set of bankers, so they did help me in coming up with my PPP application, ensuring it went smoothly. We were awarded the funds. When it was awarded, honestly, I was not sure whether we needed that fund. it was still like April when we got awarded. We still had a lot of funds coming in at that point of time. Unlike Reggie's business and Pilar's business, my business is my company mostly does business with corporate, so we have a different kind of cash flow coming in. So when it was awarded, I was like, okay, it's good, but I'm not sure how I can utilize these funds. But I'm so glad that it happened, because it's like ripple effect. We face the cash crunch right now during the later part of the year. And I'm so glad I had those funds available, because we were trying to do some new things, get into new practices. And also many of the clients slowed down on their payment terms, because they were having crunches too. So it started affecting us after this second half of the year. And I'm so glad that we went for it, and I had those funds available for me to get this year through.
That's a perspective that many of us, I don't think, have thought about when we knew about the aid and what it would do for small businesses. We thought about the immediate help. But one of the things that you've emphasized is that the money helped you later in the year more so than it did at the beginning.
Yeah, because I think we also all up some cash for these kind of things. So we did have some cash in case something went wrong. So we used our own funds, and the cash flow was coming. And then it started slowing down, and then, okay, now we have to use more of the funds that were, given to us. So it was quite timely, I would say.
Pilar?
Hold on. For us was like a peace of mind. The transaction was very smooth, very simple, very easy. And yeah, the bankers put everything together for us. And we kind of went into how are we going to spend this money and allocate the money in the way that we were needing it the most. But the amazing thing about it was that it gave me a peace of mind. I was able to relax, to breathe, and to take care of other things because I knew I had the money and the cash in the bank whenever I needed it. Be thankful for that.
Reggie, your experience may not have been so seamless.
Yeah, we did have a difficulty initially trying to get a PPP loan. All the big, what we call too big to fail banks, where we have funds deposited, couldn't go in, get an application, couldn't, they said the funds were available. We also, because of the way our corporate structure is, we're an LLC, partnership for me and my wife. One of the things I will share with everyone, if you are an LLC in a family-owned business, PPP hurts you if you don't cut yourself a check every 2 weeks or every week. If you're relying on K-1 statements for income, I couldn't walk into a bank with a K-1 statement and get a PPP loan. So one of the things we learned from this process is that no matter what, my wife and I must have, although we get paychecks, but we must have meaningful paychecks on an ongoing basis because the PPP was based on provable payroll, not K-1 statements. We were fortunate enough to get a SBA EIDL, economic disaster loan, so that really helped us. But the learnings for us from a PPP and all of these government-backed programs is you must make sure your business is positioned, pre-positioned to take advantage of those opportunities because we've been through Harvey, so we know what disaster looks like, and we've had economic impact to our business. And the one thing we learned this go around is that as owners of the business, you can't just rely on partnership income. You really need to be paying yourself out on a quarterly basis so that if disaster comes again and there is a PPP type fund available, you want to make sure that income is something income you can use to get help with, because we couldn't use any of our partnership income for me and my wife to get a PPP to get PPP funds for us.
Reggie, how many people does Lamont employ?
We were at about 20 employees pre-COVID. We're at about 10. And I say 10 very loosely. We in November, actually late October in November, we applied to manage a grant, a CARES Fund grant, a $2.2 million grant sponsored by the city of Houston, where they literally said, we're going to take $2.2 million of CARES money. We want to spend this money with small businesses, restaurants, and catering companies in Houston to then give out free meals to communities that's been disproportionately impacted by COVID. So literally for the last 4 weeks, my wife and I have managed 20, now we're up to 21 restaurants. We pay them $10 a meal. They get real money, make these meals, and they distribute it to socioeconomic disadvantaged communities. They distribute it to elderly residential facilities, or we distribute them to schools. So in many ways, I feel like I have lots of a lot more employees than I've ever had in my life before. We've to date, we've distributed about 100,000 meals over the last 4 weeks for the city of Houston. And this program runs through the 30th, December 30th, when all the CARES money currently expires. So when you asked me earlier how we started the year, it was tough because we thought we were going in one direction, but now we've ended the year with managing this program. It's been a win-win because not only financially has it helped all of us sort of stabilize our businesses, but it's also been a way to give back to communities who are really experiencing very difficult times economically, particularly where we have food deserts and financial struggles for a lot of these residents in these communities. So it's been a really, really great program, and the city has done a really awesome job in trying to make these funds work in a responsible way.
That's wonderful. Janie talked earlier about half of our jobs in the United States are provided by small businesses. So small businesses, the backbone of the American economy, but in a pandemic becomes the front line of casualties. Was there ever a point for any of y'all when you were really concerned about what the impact it could have on your employees, whether you have 4 or 5 or 140? Start with Pilar, with the 5.
Yes, definitely. One of our priorities was the safety of our employees and our customers, of course, but we were trying to train them in a way to stay safe. So we reached out to the health department. We have some training for our employees and how to stay safe and keep their families safe. We made agreements on not only how we were going to separate the line of manufacturing line to be safe for everybody, but also how they can keep, and stay healthy at home. So it was very important for us. So, and it was wonderful because, as I mentioned, we reached out to the health department. They very kindly came to our office, point us where we have to apply the CDC points of control, and train our people to stay safe both and work and with their families. And we kind of make an agreement of keeping us safe, trying to reduce our contact with other people, going out and being responsible, because we all needed to survive this and we all needed to keep working. And since we were one of the essential jobs as a food manufacturing plant, I can report to you that I'm very proud of my people and the training that we have. We have not had anybody got sick from COVID during this year. So they've been amazing, and I'm very proud of them. I'm very happy.
I think during our previous discussion also, I was telling this was, I think, one of the biggest change management gone smooth throughout the world. I mean, so many people were forced to change the way they were working earlier and later, especially in my industry, working from office and shifting and working from home. That was a big thing. I don't think it could have gone smoother unless the employees had not stepped up. They all, big companies, small companies, all companies. Yeah, I think the employees did a big um, uh, stepped up to ensure that businesses went as smooth as possible for many of us. And it was the same in my case too. I think in the process, what ended up happening was many of the employees overworked themselves. So it took like a couple of months for them to figure out what is a good balance, how to have personal life and work life demarcated, especially when you're working from home, you have family, you have kids. It becomes very hard and it burns you out unless you are disciplined enough. And not everybody is equally disciplined to ensure that happens. And I think it's going to continue training them to ensure that they employ good practices to ensure they have their personal time, they have their family time, and they have their me time apart from work time. So it's a process, and I think it will continue for another 6 months or a year till all of us are able to find that balance that works for each of us. So, yeah, it's a concern. It's an ongoing concern, and we are constantly trying to talk to our employees to ensure that they don't burn themselves out because we value them and what they bring to us in the long run. So
Thank
that's
you.
where we are right now.
Great. Reggie?
You know, when COVID hit us in March and what felt like everything going away, and we closed our operations in Midtown at the theater, that was probably the hardest because those employees at that theater complex, I didn't have any, I couldn't bring them back to our main kitchen operation. They were hired to specifically manage. So that was really difficult. We thought it was going to be short term. We did pay them for a few weeks, very part time. But as we got into the second month, and then it became the third month, and then we realized no, it's going to go through the summer. We realized that was going to be more of a long-term separation of that group. I think the most difficult thing besides that was also having those conversations with your current team about personal responsibility in the COVID world. What do you do at work, at home, at play, where you're not trying to step over a line, right? But the reality is, if you've made your team so lean just to operate daily, to balance the payroll, to get your to. So it was a constant sort of back and forth with employees checking in, how things going. Do you need, as you said earlier, personal time, but making sure they were being safe outside of the workplace, because we couldn't afford to lose anyone else just to continue to maintain operations. So surprisingly, it went very well. We have a really good group of folks who work in our team, but those are probably conversations I've never had before, because I really appreciate people having their personal time when they clock in, and when they're done, they do a great job and go home. But we were now having conversations about behavior outside the workplace that I'd never had to have before because of COVID.
The three of you sound like wonderful employers. Seriously, I mean, not just saying this, but I mean, you really care about people who work for you. Are there any, looking ahead at 2021, are there any practices that you will do that are good practices that perhaps you may not have thought of were it not for the threat of COVID and having to be creative and find out how to go around the barriers it's set before you? Any lessons that you learned moving forward and how to run your businesses? Start with Shanti.
I think adaptability is something that was enforced on us this year more so than any other year. It was forced upon us. Otherwise, we usually adapt to changes that are driven by us, but this time it was forced on us. So, this is be lean as much as possible, be flexible. And whenever there is downtime, we as a business had gone through another downtime couple of years back, so it actually prepared us for this time. This is okay, we can survive it together. So I think when we work together as a team, it becomes easier for us to face whatever consequences it is. This year is actually the whole of my team learned quite a bit. We had to pivot. We brought in new practices, and all of us stepped up to see what is it that we can do best for the company and what is it that we can do best for all of us together. So that is, I think, um, that is something that has helped the company. I don't think I could have done anything by myself for the company unless they all had stepped up. And when they see themselves do that, it brings in a different kind of confidence for the team. I think we'll continue doing that, probably bring in some new, talk together, what else we can do, what else we can do to improve. And hopefully that will keep us going for years to come. I don't know if it answered your question, but I
No, you
think our
did.
mindset, our change in mindset, it's more of how we approach things.
No, your answer was much better than the question, actually. Pilar?
Well, we have learned a lot. I mean, we have a long way to learn, but one of the things that we have learned through this time is that coming together and caring for each other land a base to grow and put a base to come together more as a family than as a company. And we have learned how important every piece of the company is important in order to function, not only for me but for my people. So we have a better understanding how we all fit together and how powerful we are together and how important it's training, education, following the rules, and developing new ways to stay not safe for them and for our family. And I do cherish a lot that they have worked together, not only here in the business, but they have extended that to their families, and how conscious they are of the activities that they do outside our office. And I think that just treating them with as a family and with the respect and with the um, giving them everything that they need to accommodate their health and their family well-being has been proved to be great for us. So now every morning since COVID, we start our meetings with more familiar way, like how's your family? Is everybody okay at home? Have you done something different this weekend? Is there anything we can do to keep you safe? And we have come to repeat those conversations with the health department, and we have printed all the CD recommendations, and we're following them. So that makes me very proud. I see my company and my people in a very different way, and I cherish and value each person and how much they're taking care of themselves so we can still work together and still provide for our families.
It's fascinating. Thank you. Reggie?
One of the things you always might say about your business is trying to figure out a way to recession proof it. Well, the way we look at our business is that we need to figure out a way to make sure that no matter what happens in the future, our products and services can still get through the supply chain. So right now we only have 5 retail products that we sell. We saw those products, even though it was only about 5 to 10% of our revenue, we saw the demand for those products to go up this year, where we had distribution, because people still will need to get food. They may just not be able to get it in group settings. So we're going to probably double those line of products, so that no matter what, we can sell those products either online or through distribution channels with stores that we partner with. The other thing is content. I do a lot of cooking classes with our partners, and we have planned for 21 to create our own channel of cooking classes where it's available through YouTube or Facebook Live or any number of platforms, so that people continue to see our content as a chef and as a company, while doing that, we can also have product placement in that content to drive people to buy our products in what I would have considered a non-traditional manner. We've always done large events, 200, 300 people, with equipment and staff and pulling permits And we're finding new ways to make revenue with lower cost, right? Because there are no staff going to big parties. You're not renting trucks and tables. So we're trying to take those lessons learned this year and apply to revenue models moving forward so we can meet our profit objectives and still broaden our business base and customer base.
This is my last question, and then I'm gonna have invite Janie to ask to read some questions that the audience has. But simply this: are you optimistic, pessimistic going into 2021? Reggie, start with you.
Very, very optimistic. A lot of good lessons this year. Very resilient community here in Houston. We've been through a lot over the last few years. I'll be honest, I really do believe Harvey prepared me for this. I do. And going through Harvey and now going through this, I think we're in a very good position to capitalize moving forward as a small business.
Shanti?
Very optimistic again. I think this has, we were already optimistic of growth in 2020. It didn't happen, but I think 2020 has prepared us for a better 2021.
Pilar?
Well, I feel that I need to be very cautious. Things are changing very rapidly, and I'm kind of backing up myself and observing what's happening in the world and in our location and in our lives. And I think I'm going to continue to be cautious and to strive for quality and safety. And once I can accomplish that and make that under control, I think we're going to be okay. You know, and another thing that I would like to add is that one of the things that I have learned this year is that becoming together make us stronger, and consuming and supporting small businesses have changed the way we see things and the way we have evolved. So within that caution, I think we will keep on supporting each other and learning from the future.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Janie, would you like to come back, and do we have any questions from the audience? I think we have some questions from the audience that Janie is going to read.
Now, right? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks, Carrie, and thanks, panel. This has just been great. You know, we do have some questions here, and I hope we can get through them before our time ends. Business owners talked about the PPP program. So the question is, what role did your CPAs play in applying for the PPP? And also, do you even have a CPA or an accountant, or are you doing that kind of work internally? So
I do have a CPA, but I went through the process by myself. It was very simple. I mean, you have a lot of classes out there how to do it, and my bankers were my support. So it was a very, very simple process.
okay. Shanti?
I'll repeat what Pilar said. My CPA was not involved in the process. We do have a CPA, but my banker was a greater help than the CPA. And I did the application myself. And it was very simple. If you have the documentation ready, it was very simple process.
And Reggie, you talked about your Schedule C, right? Because you're an LLC. So you had a little bit more different, but do you have a CPA or accountant?
Right, we do have a CPA, and what I would say to every small business out there, you can afford one. You've got to have one. It has to be a priority. We didn't use our CPA to apply for the loan. We did just like everyone else on the call. Our bank was very helpful for that. But the documents that the bank needed was on demand because of the relationships we have with our CPAs and accounting firms. It was simple. It was as simple as just opening a file and printing it off and forwarding it through an email to the bank.
Thanks. So let's stay on those financial questions here. Question is, did your business already have your 2020 budget in place? So did your business have that budget in place? And obviously, did you have to change that? I guess would be part of this question as well.
Yes, we had budget in place, but it it went in a totally different direction. Um, I think for us, it went down. Both the expenses went down as well as revenue went down, which was good. We didn't have too much of change in terms of our profitability. 2021, we plan to come back to and exceed what we did in 2019. So that is our outlook right now.
Pilar?
And yes, we did have a budget. It didn't change much because we were able to get the grants and the support and the help, and we cut our expenses. So we continue with that budget. The only thing that was different about it is we were cautious about investing, but we still got our new equipment and machinery, and I mean we just keep on going because things were looking really good.
Right, same thing for us with the budget. What I will say is, to Pilar's point earlier, I'm very optimistic, but we're cautious also. We're going to be very deliberate in our decision making in 21. We want to be very patient to understand what's happening in the marketplace. If there are opportunities we can take advantage of in the marketplace to build a stronger business, we want to have the funds to be able to do that while investing in things that could make us either technology or more automated, or investing in our people education wise and giving them more skill sets so we're prepared to react to changes in the marketplace in 21. So optimistic but cautious at the same time.
Thank you. So this other question is about your business as well in terms of your profile. Reggie, you mentioned this a minute ago that you kind of had a pivot, right? And all of three of you have addressed it in some way or fashion. But I'm going to go ahead and ask the question: did any of you reevaluate your business profile and your traditional clients? So Reggie, maybe you can pick up from that, and we'll go to Shanti and then Pilar.
So I will tell you this. So I sit on a number of boards here in Houston, and I'm the incoming chair for the Greater Houston Convention and Visitors Bureau, and I was talking to our vice president of marketing, who's in charge of the marketing in the city globally for conventions, and I literally told her in a meeting, we may not be a catering company when this is over with. And she looked at me and she said, "Are you kidding me?" And I says, "We may not be, but we're going to be something different, but I'm fully prepared not to be who I am today when this is done." And you have to have the confidence and belief that you are prepared enough to pivot and still operate in a new business environment. So I love what I do, but I don't hold on to an idea so much that I'm not prepared for the change to be able to survive challenges moving forward. And that's the one thing that my wife and I will tell anyone we talk to. We have an exit strategy for everything we do, for every path we take, so that we don't go down a road to the point where we get to a dead end and we can't recover. So I love what I do. I love our business, the heritage that it brings to the table. But I told her I was fully prepared for us to still be in the food business, but we may not be a catering company next year. And I think that allows us to be a little bit more open to change and to adapting to a new environment.
Thank you. Shanti?
Till 2019, most of our target clients were small to medium-sized clients, mostly mid-size, anywhere between 50 to 500 million. But when 2020 happened and COVID hit, and there was a lot of time for me with nothing to do, basically, because there was no business development happening, I think for me it was a time to sit back and see what is the best way to attract bigger clients, maybe companies beyond 500 million, and why are we not doing it, and what are they looking for? And as a owner, I don't know whether you guys have faced it, Pilar and Reggie. I always hesitated going and asking for business. There was something within me that was stopping. And this actually, when COVID hit, I was like, anyway, I'm singing. So let me go ahead and ask. If they don't give me business, it's okay. But I should at least ask. So that helped me. I started targeting bigger clients and asking them openly, this is what I need. Do you think you will be able to give it? and I've seen a lot of success of that working. And I'm glad I did that, and I'm glad that this happened. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have stepped up and taken that step.
Pilar?
Well, for us, it's been a very different kind of experience. It's been surprising. It's been scary. It make us think outside the box and get out of our zone of control of comfort. So for this year, we have learned that our industry, the food industry, has get stronger, at least in the area that I developed as a co-packing and manufacturing business. And now we're gonna develop new products that contain immunity to a strong your immunity system. We're gonna go and bring out to the market new dips that are plant-based that people are looking forward, because now the new mentality it's to stay healthy and to boost your immunity system. And I have come together with different people that are helping us develop these new products, and we hope to put them in the market next year.
Wow. You know, it's when I opened up this discussion today, I opened with the word resiliency. And you three are just wonderful examples of that, and having to adapt, right? Because at the end of the day, I think being an entrepreneur means not giving up. And you three are an example of that. So the last question as we start to wrap up is, I'm going to combine the two because it has to do with grants. So one question was, does Lift Fund assist to identify and secure grants for small businesses? And then the other one is, do you think more grant funds will be deployed? So I'll take this one, and then you all can comment as well. But yes, Lift Fund has been working with municipalities all across our footprint to so sort of like Reggie, he's working with the city of Houston with the CARES money. We received CARES money too, and grants that we were able then to re-grant, and we did about 45 million of that. It's all pretty much gone right now because it does have to be out by December 30th. Do we need more stimulus money? The answer is absolutely yes. Because to our point, I mean, what you all have been discussing, you can't rely on cash flow from 2020 to make decisions for 2021, because it may or may not have been there. And a lot of time, that's how we grow our businesses, really, right? By looking at the previous quarter, saying, okay, where are we doing? How are we going? And then move forward. So 2020 has been an extraordinary year in pros and cons, in negative and positive ways. So we really can't use that. So it's imperative that we have stimulus coming in 2021. And those of you who would like to join us actually in the next hour in Town Hall, we're going to be talking about those kind of policies. Carrie, do you have any additional comments on that, or any of the panelists regarding grants and the policies of these things moving forward?
I've just been fascinated by the discussion, Janie, and the word you used, resiliency, with all three of them. And earlier, Pilar talked about how community was necessary to survive in, and just, you know, from where I'm sitting right now, the three of them have been superb examples of business owners who are creative, uh, dedicated to having the best product, but also committed to their community and especially to their employees. So I commend all three of them. It's been an honor to share this past hour with you.
Thank you, Carrie. And no, it's an honor for me to be here with you all as well, with the wonderful business owners that we have. All of you have been such an inspiration to me and to the work that we do, because that's all about, that's what, you know, the mission of Lift Fund is, to transform people's lives. And, you know, we do it, hopefully, we'll continue to do it, hopefully, for many more years. So in closing, I just wanted to reflect on a few things from the panel today. One being that it's obvious that the world has changed, and we are going to, within even Lift Fund, we are also looking at how do we pivot? How do we, continue that change management that you all were talking about earlier, and for us to be resilient as well and be able to take care of your needs? So small businesses matter. They matter to our economy. They matter to our customers. They matter to their employees, as you heard. They matter to families, as you heard as well. So, as we turn the page, who knows what 2021 is going to bring? What I do know is that we are better equipped to face those challenges that no doubt are still ahead. And we can do that together. You heard that today on the panel, that every single panelist are saying that the lessons learned in 2020 are going to get them ready to move into 2021. So again, thank you all for being here today, all the our panelists and Carrie and all our sponsors, SWBC, Broadway Bank, Trans-Pecos Bank. And I hope you're able to join us in this next session that starts in about a few minutes on the legislative agenda here in Texas. Thank you all for joining us today.